right, so back to this yet again, yet another Omari video, again, right? This is yet another one I make it today, so this will be the third one of the day, and surprisingly though, this isn't about, again, actually the characters, which is what I said I'd be going into next, kind of like a character analysis or comparison there, right? Between the Omari characters as well as their just Omori-like counterparts. And again, it would be one for each character, so that's like 6 videos in total. So, but I haven't actually started that yet, so it looks like I'll probably end up starting it tomorrow. But again, right, and the reason for that and why I'm not doing it in this video is, again, this video, right? I actually wanted to talk about something else, right? Something that I haven't really, I guess I somewhat brought it up, but not like, I guess, in that context or in this way, right? Or format. So, at least in terms of that, again, right? So, yeah, what that comes down to, and just kind of going over it, right? And then talking about it, right? Again, so let's get into it there. And so this is kind of just for some background and context, right? You know, kind of a core or like a tenet of the general Omari AU trend, or of that, right? Like of the expansive AU, despite how expansive it was. You know, one of the kind of, you know, I guess, what would you call it? One of the inherent aspects of the AU is that the incident is the same. Again, just obviously roles reversed, pretty much, and again, that's how the AU spawned out of that question of, oh, what if it was Mari who pushed Sunny instead of the inverse, and kind of what would happen as a result of that, or resulting from that. So again, and that's, again, right, that was just always been kind of a fundamental part, or like tenet of that AU, is just, again, you know, the flipped roles of the incident there, right? However, as the AU's grown and expanded and got to the point to where they're actually making a mod of it, again, it's gotten to the point where people have actually started theorizing, because obviously you also have the character swaps, but people have also started theorizing and speculating about like alternate incidents and how the alternate incidents will have gone down. Like, for example, in the previous video, I went over I went over the amnesia interpretation, but in the video before that, I went over the ambulance of the burial interpretation, right? I talked about the interpretation where they threw his body in the lake. Spoiler alert, that's kind of what I'll be talking about this video. But both of those, or all 3 of those at the time, were resulting, again, from the same incident, however, right? Where, again, Mari pushed Sunny down the stairs. That's been kind of one of the fundamental aspects, or like cores of the Omari AUs. That's just that fundamental, like, resulting from that question of, what if Mari pushed Sunny instead of the inverse? What if it was just this one change, right? What can that lead to? How can that change the story? So again, that's, again, kind of what spawned that. But because of how much it's grown, right, it's actually been something to where now, again, and what I'll do is I'll link a video in the description that I feel does a really good job of showcasing it. But there's actually been, again, more to this AU there's, again, been sort of, obviously you keep the character swapping, but people have even made, like, alternate incidents. Obviously, you know, Sunny's gonna die regardless, right? You know, there's no stopping that, but they changed it from, again, you know, Mari pushing Sunny, right? You know, again, Mari pushing Sunny down the stairs. Into this instance, in the video I'm gonna link, it changes it to, again, you know, Sunny and Mari arguing at the lake, and again, they both end up falling in, right? And Mari isn't able to save Sunny there. So that their secret hangout. So again, still different from Mari throwing Sunny's body into the lake, right? But it's actually interesting, and again, it's actually I feel like, again, like the video that I'm gonna link, like literally go in the description, does a really good fucking job of showcasing that. And it's something to where, again, you know, and as I've been mentioning, and this is kind of, again, why it's something to where, like, I didn't bring this up. I also didn't know of it until then, but it's also, again, right, it shows how, like, because one of what I thought, at least, you know, was pretty much just going all the way back to that original question of, you know, what if they just flip the roles, right? What if the roles are reversed? What if it was, again, just that one change of Mari pushing Sunny instead of Sunny pushing Mari? So that's always been kind of a fundamental aspect, right? Like I've been mentioning. And again, it's just that one change onward stemmed this entire AU. But as, again, like I mentioned, how it expanded, right? They've even come up with, like, this alternate incident, right? To where, like, again, instead it's Sunny still dies, right? That's inevitable, like I've been saying. But again, it's been in the lake, right? And it was something to where, again, it wasn't actually something that was Mari's fault. Yet, of course, she still blames herself for it. So again, that's just something I kind of wanted to talk about because I really liked the video. And again, I'm literally going to link this video in the description. I really liked the video, and I really like this kind of interpretation because one of my main issues with, I guess, and I've talked about this in my burial versus ambulance and even the amnesia video, and kind of my issue with that is, the issue is that, okay, like, let's say, take it as something to where it's like, I think the issue is kind of trying to make the AU, go through the same sequence of events, same events, right? Especially in the real world, as we see in Omori, right? My issue with that is if they call the ambulance, and I've been mentioning this, I don't see, Mari recluding and secluding herself, what would you call it, for 4 years, going full Ikikomori. I just don't see that being the case. So if they go that route, they need to create, a story, a new story, right? Original creative idea for that. Versus, again, the burial, which is more unrealistic with Mari and Hiro following through with that. But then that could also be legitimate, what would you call it? It could be something to where it's like, that could be a legitimate reason for her to reclude and isolate herself for those years and go for Ikikomori and develop headspace there. And then in the amnesia video I say, okay, what if it was the ambulance, right? But then Mari can't take the guilt, can't handle the trauma, right? And she tries to kill herself by throwing herself down the stairs, ironically, similarly enough. And that gives her brain damage amnesia there. And again, that'd be something to where, again, that kind of turns the tables to where now others need to decide, okay, do we tell her the truth? She learns about or she's trying to learn about the truth, what happened there, right? So it's almost inverted. And then that would also explain headspace there, right? Again, it would kind of explain headspace there in that sense. Even if she didn't go full Hikikomori, right? It wouldn't follow the same events if, again, clearly if she if they ended up going that route. But because there would be no sequence or, what would you call it? There would be no truth or confession, at least from her end. It'd be very different. But again, that would kind of more explain headspace there, as well as more so explain her trying to find out the truth and find out the, again, what happened, right? She clearly forgot about there. So there's that, and those were the past two videos I went over. But I feel like this incident, this kind of alternate incident, again, not just the swapping of Mari and Sunny, whoever pushed who down the stairs from that one change, right? Like it's traditionally been. But this being kind of like an alternate incident to, again, right, kick off the start of the Omari AU, right? And then it's also something to where, again, like I feel like it would also explain again, just really go watch the video because it does a really good job of showing it. Her kind of recluding and isolating herself there, right? As it's more so something to where she couldn't have really done anything about it, right? There was that, it wasn't something to where, I mean, she still blames herself, but it wasn't something to where she killed him. It was more so that she wasn't able to save him in that sense, right? She still blames herself that, but there's a difference there. As opposed to her, let's say in the ambulance version, trying to overcome, again, what she did and pushing him down the stairs and overcome that. Instead, it's more so her just being left and feeling and being left with that, again, guilt, and then the weight of just not being able to save him. I'd say, arguably, not being able to save him would put more trauma and guilt on Mari as opposed to directly killing him there. So I could see that leading to her, again, recluding and isolating herself. And then the whole headspace thing spawning off of that is more so kind of, again, it's not as though she killed her, but because she couldn't save him. Maybe it's more so tailored towards, okay, what would happen if I was able to save him? Because all of a sudden, you start thinking about that, right? And thinking about, okay, well, would the group be like if she was able to save him? It's not, because again, right, it's more so what if she did do this as opposed to what if she didn't do that? And I mentioned most people in life, have regrets about things they don't do. And that'd be a situation here. Because again, it's not like this alternative imaginary fantasy that Mari would be concocting. It'd more so be like obviously it'd take place in the headspace and dream world, but more so what that stems from, or what that's resulting from, or a product of, is what if I was able to save him? What would that lead to there? Again, what changes would be there, would take place then, right? So again, it really is interesting. It really is something where I think this is honestly almost kind of the solution to, again, the problem I mentioned with the other three and the other two videos I mentioned, but more so, again, trying to tailor the incident towards leading to the same, I guess, sequence of events that we see in the original game, as it doesn't make sense from Mari's character perspective, right? Unless you change the incident itself and create the alternate version like this, right? Again, and I know it goes against the whole idea for the Omari AU to begin with, right? Oh, what if it was Mari who pushed something? Well, if there was this one little change or tweak here in the story, what differences could that lead to? Now instead you're changing the whole incident. I still think it's something, though, that where it's like, so long as Sunny's still dying and the character swaps, and the characters, are still swapping, right? It's still the same there. I think it's something to where, again, it ends up working out, ends up solving or fixing a lot of the problems that holds, right? And again, I don't necessarily think the Omari model have this, but I think it's something to where, at least for the overall expanded universe in AU, I think it actually makes more sense and actually works out there, even though it kind of goes against the whole formation creation of the AU to begin with. But there's that, right? And honestly, I've talked about most of what I need to. I don't really have much more to say. I guess the big thing there being that, again, right, the next videos I make will be the character videos. This was kind of the last one I wanted to go over before then. And it's something to where it's like, again, I'm excited to see, I guess, whenever the fuck this mod releases, right? Whenever, I'll still make, the very last video I'll make will be a mod expectations and kind of, what would you call it, like theory, like speculations video. But again, I'm still excited to see, right? And it's all something to where it's like, in terms of that, what that comes down to is that, it'll just, again, it'll be nice to see, right? It'll be nice to see there. So, and then, it's just, it really is. I do think, and again, going all the way back to my thoughts and opinions on the Omari AU, I feel like the Omari AU is not only arguably more realistic, but again, will have more of an impact there. As I just think, again, inherently Mari being an older sister, and again, Sunny being on the, what would you call it, is in here actually not even necessarily killing Sunny in this incident, but not being able to save him. Again, I feel like that will have a lot more of an impact, right? And it'll be a lot more, it's something you can flesh out way more than, again, kind of what we saw with Omori and Mari in the original, right? Which was already, very fleshed out. This, I think, holds a lot more possibility and potential just because of kind of the change of dynamic there. And more so, again, Mari supposed to be this, I'm an older sibling. As an older sibling, you're supposed to protect your younger sibling. If shit happens to them, that's on you. Right? Like, I couldn't imagine what would happen if, like, my younger sibling died, right? That'd be, like, fucking tragic. And it's something, especially after all this time. But again, it's something to where that, in that instance, right? And then also, again, Omori being Sunny being a more reserved, secluded or reclusive type of person, right? So Mari, obviously, Sunny dies. She kind of doesn't know what Sunny wanted there and feels guilty because of that, right? She's like, I don't know if Sunny actually liked me. Like, I don't know what he would want me to do. As opposed to Sunny's instance where we saw, again, with him killing Mari there, that what she wanted, and he even knew this. He knew what she would want for him was to tell the truth and then kind of accept what's happened. And be able to live in the real world again, right? Which is the whole point of the good ending there. As opposed to this, where it's kind of like, even in this alternative incident where Mari doesn't directly kill Sunny, I'd argue not being able to save him is worse, because there's always that thought about, oh, what if I could have saved him, right? And that you could formulate headspace around that. And I think that's way more realistic and has way more possibility and potential than kind of anything else we've seen in Omori or out of this Omari AU so far, bud. With that, I think I'm going to end it. Really go and check out the video. I'll link it in the description because it really does such a good job of that, right? And kind of what I'm trying to convey here. And I think it's honestly, again, because that was always the issue, I guess, at least when the other videos I made with Omari is, okay, how do we bridge this incident with the events if Mari's the main character, because it just, again, it's kind of hard to, right? You can't really end up doing that. This is kind of a solution to that, and I think, again, right, it's a good one at that. So, but with that, I'm getting to here. I don't really have anything else to say. So, yep, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.